Do you know what's in the milk that you're drinking? And do you know the difference between dairy milk and almond milk? The dairy industry says no, but are they correct? Hey, what's up? It's Vince Leah from VinceLeah.com. Thanks for joining me here again today. And if you're new here to the channel, I do a lot of videos around plant-based nutrition, including recipes, taste test videos, healthy hacks, and more. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that notifications bell so you don't miss a thing. Now, a new report was recently released by the International Food Information Council Foundation. And what they did is they wanted to find out if consumers are actually confused when they see the word almond milk or soy milk or coconut milk and think that the product actually contains dairy. Now, this foundation is dedicated to the mission of effectively communicating science-based information on health, nutrition, and food safety for the public good. And this whole issue of not labeling things as milk and cheese started with the Dairy Pride Act, which states that non-dairy products made from nuts, seeds, plants, and algae can no longer be confusingly labeled with dairy terms like milk, yogurt, and cheese. Now, I'm not really sure what we're supposed to call these plant-based alternatives, something like almond juice? And what about cheese? What are you supposed to call cashew cheese? The reason you use terms like milk and cheese is that it reminds you of something that you're used to eating. Now, my question would be, what about defining the terms all natural or contains natural flavors? These marketing words are what we see on products, and those terms are even more obscure, and it make a lot more sense to define those terms than worrying about the word milk. So I thought I'd do my own test. So I'm here in the parking lot of a Ralph's grocery store here in Los Angeles, and I'm gonna find out if people know the difference between almond milk and dairy milk. So would you know the difference between dairy milk and almond milk?
Yes.
You do?
I do.
Well, almond milk is made out of nuts,
Correct.
and dairy milk is made out of cows.
So there's no dairy in almond milk?
Correct.
Yes?
Yeah, so there's no dairy in almond milk?
I don't know. I know there's a difference. One has almonds and one normally doesn't, but I couldn't tell you that.
Okay.
What doesn't?
Yeah.
So there's no dairy in almond milk?
There's not supposed to be.
Yeah, almond milk's from almonds.
So do you know the difference between almond milk and dairy milk?
Almonds
Almonds.
is what almond milk is made out of, and then dairy milk comes from cows.
Yes.
And it's that almonds are made from almond milk from almond milk. Is there dairy in almond milk, or
I don't know if there's dairy in almond milk.
but it's made out of almonds?
It's made out of almonds instead of from cows.
One is from almond and one's from the cow, right?
Yeah.
And it's just that there's one's made out of almonds and one made from dairy?
Yes, I do.
You do. So almond
Yes.
milk is made out of almonds and dairy milk is made out of cows?
I don't think it's that simple. I think there's a little more to it.
One comes from cows, one comes from almonds.
So most people that I talk to know the difference between almond milk and dairy milk. Now, the Dairy Pride Act did mention the 2015 Dietary Guidelines for Americans published by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the U.S. Department of Agriculture. And it found that most Americans are not meeting recommended intake for the dairy food group. However, what the Dairy Pride Act forgets to mention is that in this same report, about 3/4 of the population has an eating pattern that is low in fruits and vegetables, and that most Americans exceed the recommendations for added sugar, saturated fat, and sodium. Now, I've mentioned this information in some of my other healthy hacks videos on how to eat more fruits and veggies. I'll go ahead and link those videos in the description box below so you can check them out. Now, this report does state that a shift to eating more vegetables, fruits, and whole grains and dairy products is needed. However, I've done videos about great plant-based sources of both calcium and potassium, which are better for you without all the risk that comes from dairy and offset all the benefits of dairy that are included in this report. And I'll go ahead and list those videos in the description box below as well. Now, the FDA has recently stated that it has concerns that the labeling of some plant-based products may lead consumers to believe that these products have the same key nutritional attributes as dairy products. Even though these products can vary widely in their nutritional content, it is important that we better understand consumers' expectations of these plant-based products compared to dairy products. Now, the one thing I will say is that not all plant-based milks are created equal, so you definitely have to read the ingredients. But if you look at the nutritional labels from many of these plant-based milk sources, they are fortified with some of the vitamins and minerals that they claim you need to get from milk. Now, I'll be doing another video in the future about milk and all the things you need to know, so make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss that video. So getting back to the survey and report that I mentioned in the beginning of this video, about 3/4 of Americans understand that plant-based milk products do not actually contain cow's milk. And fewer than 10% believe that any of these products actually contain dairy. And the remainder say that they just don't know. Based on these results, the dairy industry shouldn't be concerned about any confusion from a consumer's decision. Their decision whether to buy dairy products or vegan and plant-based option is not influenced by seeing the word milk or cheese on the packaging. So what are they really concerned about? Now, I can't speak for anyone, but let's check out the sales of non-dairy milk. Now, research has revealed that non-dairy milk sales have seen steady growth, growing 61% since 2012. And nearly 1 in 5 Americans say they're consuming less dairy for health reasons. So if people are consuming more non-dairy milk options, it only makes sense that they're consuming less dairy milk. In fact, research has shown that dairy milk sales have declined 15% since 2012. So after looking at all this information, you can start to see why the dairy industry would want to do whatever it can to address its declining sales. However, removing the word milk and cheese from non-dairy alternatives doesn't appear to be the answer, as many people already know what they are buying and why they're buying it. So let me know in the comments what your thoughts are about this whole labeling plant-based alternatives with the word milk and cheese. And as always, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and remember to keep living fit from food. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.